several ways, by Zoom, by Facebook Live, and we got a group here in person today, and we're having a pizza night tonight. And so we want to ask if somebody who's also watching the game tonight to put in the chat, let us know how it's going. So I know somebody out there is doing double duty. So and so with that, I just want to welcome everybody again. I'm Casey Church, Waukegan Band Potawatomi, originally from Michigan, and I'm here in Albuquerque now for the past 22 years. And now we're working on Good Medicine Way. It's a ministry, a new style of ministry to create a different way of presenting the gospel from a Native American context. So as you'll notice, our order of worship is designed to reflect that kind of ministry, the way we acknowledge the different orders of worship. We added kind of unique names, and we'll share them with you as we go here. So with that, we just want to jump right in. We're going to do our land acknowledgement and a directional prayer. It's going to be with Preston here. So Preston, go ahead.
Thank you, Casey. I would like to give up a quick thanks for someone that's actually doing double work. We all know him by Dave, so quick thanks for Dave.
Yes, Dave.
So I'm on the land of the Pueblos, and also the Navajos, the Apaches. It's very great to be on this land. It's super beautiful, super wonderful to understand how this land came through, the story, the histories of how the different peoples around here are the fight and the conquer, and being able to continue that fight for different reasons of water, land, even air. So allow ourselves to have a moment of cleanness from Creator Sets Free, and be able to allow ourselves to take a moment of that clean air that we still have around us. Thank you for the prayers this morning from the East. Creator, thank you for allowing us to be able to see your beautiful sunrise and be able to see the great hues of all colors, and that you can do, having us rise in the morning and be able to see the great day that you are allowing us to, reminding us every time that this is the day you have made, allowing us to be able to bring strength and honor to you, and allowing our start to be from your energy. When we go to look to the south, we are so wonderful, especially here in Albuquerque, to see a wonderful clear blue skies and have that moment of knowing that there's something deeper, that we're only a small part of it. We grow up knowing how crazy that small part is, so big functioning in the big world. And we want to understand that you allow us to continue our light and continue to grow and to continue for healthy establishments of relationships. As we go to the east, we start understanding the different knowledge, the different times, the different moments of our life. And we give more thanks, especially when it's also time of the sunset, time for us to be relaxing, to be together with community, to be together with you, to remind ourselves that we need to continue inviting you every part of our day. That you make everything beautiful, and that you are making beautiful things out of us. When we go to the north, we think of the night, we think of our elders that are in their late years, or elders that have already passed. We thank them for allowing them to keep eyes over us, to continue the stories, to continue the teachings and how they relate to you. And we allow ourselves to be able to take part of all who we are, because how much you loved us, how much you are continually loving us, even thousands of years before we were here. You loved us through our ancestors. Thank you for allowing us to be together here where we are virtually and be able to take part of your teachings and your moments. We worship you and honor you. And thank you for this moment. Amen.
All right, thank you, Preston. Now we got a couple of songs from the Grovers right now, Ganarokwa and Lift You Up.
Yeah, so we got a special song at the end, so we're going to do things in a little bit of a different order here. So yeah, we're going to open up with the Ganarokwa song. Set up here. Slightly changed, so be aware of that if you're singing along.
songs just takes us back. New genre of music we got to use now. We're using songs that different than a lot of our hymnal songs that we've grown up with. These are going to be new songs, going to be part of our life in the future. Now, next order of worship here is called Creation Insights. And the way we do that is that it says in the Bible in Romans that we're without excuse to know that there is a creator by what he has created. So we use this time to say someone had an experience or so and had a walk with God, and insights came to that person. So we use this time to share creation insights. So S.A. is going to share with us how the Lord spoke with him. Go ahead.
Good evening. Can you all hear me? All right, cool. You might see me yawn quite a few times during this conversation. It's been a pretty long day, so I apologize in advance. I just wanted to share something a little different than usual. Something that happened today that I think is applicable and kind of tie it into the rest of creation. How many of you have been so busy that you don't realize you're being busy? You're just, going. That's how I was this morning. I was busy getting my classwork done. I'm doing psychology, trying to stay busy with my classwork. I got 6 classes this semester, so it's been a lot. But got up and said some prayers and did that. But my little ones, my young ones, they demand a lot of attention too, and they I was working and I heard we have a dog, one of 3 dogs actually, but our youngest dog, he was sitting by the gate, and my little one is right next to me. I'll show him in a second. He was actually pushing like his little walker, like that he has when you're little, when you're an infant, pushing that around. Oh, okay. What is it? Okay. So he was pushing that around, and he hit the dog with the walker, and the dog was asleep, and the dog reacted and bit him right in the face right here. So that's part of the reason I'm so tired, is he has a big old laceration that we had to tie up with angel angel bandages, or angel, I forget, angel something slipping me right now. But so butterfly bandage, there you go, thank you. I knew it had wings. Butterfly bandage, thank you. So what that reminded me, it forced me to slow down. It forced me to be centered, and to be attentive to what my child needed. And I think oh, you unmuted that. Okay. Trying to keep him occupied at the same time. I was letting him listen to Sibumafu. He loves that theme song. He was shoot, I forgot what was it? Okay, hang on one second, okay? And so the rest of created order, the sun and the moon and everyone else, they operate in certain times and they don't rush. And you see the sun goes through 12 hours, and the moon 12 hours, every day. And you look around. What is it? You want me to hold you? This little guy needs to go to sleep. I know, I'm gonna get you to sleep. Give me 1 second, okay? All right. So with that, they when you look out in the rest of creation, everything takes its time. Everything is slow. And it's us that aren't matching that slowness and that same cycle a lot of times. And when we do, it's really nice. We feel in sync, we feel in harmony, we feel refreshed. And so it's just kind of getting into that sync. And so just a reminder, for all of us, to not be in disharmony is to be in harmony with the rest of creation, is to slow down and to be in sync, I think. And you know, the dominant societies very much engaged in the rat race, and sometimes we internalize it, even when, like, I myself am very militantly opposed to it, but yet here I am falling into that same way of being. And so you know, just taking time for ourselves and taking time, even when we are doing things that keep us busy, to remind ourselves that that's not ultimately the most important thing. So yeah, thank you for your time, and I hand it back over.
All right, thank you. We'll be praying for healing for your little one there. That's just terrible. We want our kids to be safe all the time. So thank you for sharing that. So now we're going to go on. Our First Nations Version Bible is we use that here at Good Medicine Way, and we've been practicing and learning, and we're getting better and better. We're going to have the Leah McCool lead us in the Lord's Prayer from the First Nations Version, and in sign language. So Leah will take over now. You unmute yourself.
Oops, you're muted.
You're muted.
I'm glad I asked.
There
Ready?
we go.
Oh, great Spirit, our Father from above, we honor your name as sacred and holy. Bring your good road to us, where the beauty of your ways in the spirit world above is reflected in the earth below. Provide for us day by day the elk, the buffalo, and the salmon. The corn, the wild rice, and squash. All the things we need for each day. Release us from the things we have done wrong. In the same way, we release others for the things done wrong to us. Guide us away from the things that tempt us to stray from your good road, and set us free from the evil one and his worthless ways. Aho, may it be so.
All right, thank you. Hey, maybe next week we can try it. Let's have you say the words, and we all try to do it without your guidance. And let's see how we do next week, and see how we do.
Line.
So we better practice a little bit. So our next order of worship here, we took it from the native people. In some cultures, they would send smoke signals up to communicate with each other, and there's been different memes that have shown sending messages that way. So we call our announcement time smoke signals. And then right after that, we call our time of giving of our gifts and our tithes to the Lord and to ministry as called the giveaway. So Leah, will you lead us through our smoke signals?
All right. Well, the first smoke signal I have is for our women's circle that is every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We are going through Robin Wall Kimmerer's book, Braiding Sweetgrass. And how you get to it is you go to the Good Medicine Way Facebook group, and at the top left it says Browse. You click on that, and you go to the events. And we always put it there on Wednesdays. So that's all the women on Wednesday nights at 7. If you'd like to come go through braiding sweetgrass with us. And did Jean Stevenson make it in?
Yes, he's here.
All right, go for it, Jean.
Yeah, popped in.
Yeah, so we invite you to join the men's book discussion group. Our normal time is of meeting is Sundays at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. Sundays at 3 p.m. Mountain Time is our normal meeting time, but we're taking a break for the next 2 Sundays. So that's a perfect time if you haven't picked up a copy of Randy Woodley's new book, Mission and the Cultural Other, which is the book that we're discussing. Perfect time for you to pick up a copy and catch up. We are starting to discuss chapter 4. So plenty of time left to join us. Let me know or let Uncle Casey know. And we'd love to, I think Dave also puts my contact info in the chat. So we'd love to have you join us, guys. We will be having a special meeting on the 13th, which is next Thursday evening. But normally we meet on Sundays at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. So join us.
And then if anyone had any other things they'd like to have announced, you can put it in the chats. Does anyone else have anything here?
No, just to know that we got powwow time coming up here in April. So if you're in the area, come and join us. Come to the Gathering of Nations powwow. It will be, I believe it's the 26, 27, 28. And then on that Thursday, there'll be Isla de Pueblo who's going to be hosting a powwow for the community people. And then right after the Gathering of Nations, they're going to be having the Nijoni Days powwow. That's right down the road from us here, almost walking distance on Johnson Field. It's going to be another powwow. It's very well attended because a lot of people stay after the Gathering of Nations powwow. So there's lots of extra vendors and a lot of extra dancers, and it's a good time to get together. We'll probably be having visitors, so we'll probably set up a couple of shades, a couple of canopies, have chairs and some, just come and share life with us if we're a little bit there. So if there's no other announcements, let's go on to the reading of the Creator's Word. And Katie
Or
Grindle.
should I tell them how to do the giveaway?
Oh, yes, all right.
Yeah,
Jumping
yeah.
ahead here.
If you'd like to.
I want to get to the game. Hey.
If you'd like to support the work of Good Medicine Way financially, if you're in the room, you can see me. But if you're virtual, again, at the top of our Good Medicine Way Facebook group is a logo you click on, and you can donate through PayPal or any kind of credit card. And you can Facebook message me, Leah Grover, if you have another way of giving you'd like to do, and it's going in the chat there also. And so I think that's about it as far as the giveaways and smoking.
Yeah, with that giveaway, just know if you're being fed, if you're being encouraged, and Good Medicine Way has been something you enjoy and it's a good part of you, help us to make it possible by giving a gift to us, making that happen here in Albuquerque, and we'll try to keep doing it as often as we can with a good lineup of speakers. I think we're going to have speakers lined up into August now, so all summer we'll be having some, and I know it's a busy time for everybody, but try to make it those days. So with that, let's you got one? Got a hand up? All right.
Yeah, I just wanted to wish Uncle Casey a happy belated birthday. Everybody, happy birthday for Uncle Casey. So yeah, just wanted to say that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all the greetings, the blessings, the comments, the encouragement, and a lot of people say, you're not old yet, so I made it to 66, so my next goal is to make it to 70, so I'm on my way. All right, anything else there? Katie, would you get ready here, and we'll have you read Creator's Word for us. And you here?
She was a minute ago. Let's see.
Disappeared.
Oh, wait, no, she's there.
Okay,
Are you there, Katie?
there she is. Unmute yourself. And that's going to be the phrase of the word, from here on out, you see, you're muted. Hey, you're muted. We'll check with her. All right. If she's a little bit behind there, anybody have that scripture ready?
Matthew 5, 1 to 12.
Hang on, we got electronics here. Isn't it the only time I didn't bring my Bible? I always have it right here.
Where I got it.
There
Oh, you
there
got
you
it?
go. All right, just give us a second here. And we're looking it up right now.
Matthew 5,
She must have stepped away, but that's okay.
5, 1
you
to
know.
12.
1 to 12, okay.
All right, when Peter sets free, Jesus saw this great crowd. He went back up into the mountainside and sat down to teach the people. His followers came to him there. So he took a deep breath, opened his mouth, and began to share his wisdom with them and teach them how to see Creator's good road. Creator's blessing rests on the poor, the ones with broken spirits. The good road from above is theirs to walk. Creator's blessing rests on the ones who walk a trail of tears, for he will wipe the tears from their eyes and comfort them. Creator's blessing rests on the one who walks softly and in a humble manner. The earth, land, and sky will welcome them and always be their home. Creator's blessing rests on the ones who hunger and thirst for wrongs to be made right again. They will eat and drink until they're full. Creator's blessing rests on the ones who are merciful and kind to others. Their kindness will find its way back to them, full circle. Creator's blessing rests on the pure of heart. They are the ones who will see the Great Spirit. Creator's blessing rests on the ones who make peace. It will be said of them, they are the children of the Great Spirit. Creator's blessing rests on the ones who are hunted down and mistreated for doing what's right, for they are walking the good road from above. Others will lie about you, speak against you, and look down on you with scorn and contempt, all because you walk the road with me. This is a sign that Creator's blessing is resting on you. So let your hearts be glad and jump for joy, for you'll be honored in the spirit world above. You're like the prophets of old, who were treated the same way by your ancestors. These are Creator's words.
All right, thank you. And also remember that we use the First Nations version. If you don't have it yet, we encourage you to get a copy because it's really making an impact across the country now, in Canada and other places. It's really connecting with a lot of folks. So we're going to go into our first stillness time, and Brian is getting ready here with the flute. And we started doing this so that we kind of prepare our hearts for our introduction of our speaker and then our time with our speaker. So we'll give it to Brian to stillness time. Thank you very much. And Padaka, if you get ready here, you can introduce our speaker and we'll go right into our speaker.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to say thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm so thankful that all of our relatives could join us tonight to listen to the story that Gordon Yellowman has to share. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce this week's speaker, Cheyenne Chief Gordon Yellowman. Over the last few years, I have had the tremendous honor of working with him and his team to create the Would Jesus Eat Fry Bread 22 that was hosted on the Cheyenne Arapaho homelands in El Reno, Oklahoma. Right here, I'm wearing his original piece, something that he made himself. So, yes. A renowned artist, tribal historian, educator, man of faith, and keeper of traditional knowledge, Chief Gordon Yellowman has dedicated his life to the language and cultural preservation through his roles of instruction, coordination, and peacemaking. Passing on cultural tradition through experience and a heart of sharing guide his work as the language coordinator for the Cheyenne and Arapaho Education Department. Educating those who want to know, remembering our resilient past, and leading into the future, continue Chief Yellowman's family legacy, beginning in the line of traditional peacemakers from which Gordon descends. His life and work thus far has inspired many young people, including myself. Creator's hand has most definitely been on this esteemed man's life, and it is truly an honor to see him again as he shares a story with each one of us tonight. He has faithfully served his people since he was selected as one of the principal chiefs of the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes at the age of 16. So please join me in giving a beautiful and warm welcome to our dear relative, Chief Gordon Yellowman. So yay! Go ahead, take it away, Gordon.
Nice. Pive chef. Na hewayano na cheve. Na veho nef wokdam. I said, good evening. And I said, my name is Gordon Yellowman. My Cheyenne name is Yellowhawk. And I'm a Cheyenne chief. I said, veho nef. And so it's always an honor for me to not only represent the Cheyenne, but also represent our people of in their spiritual ways, such as the good medicine way. It's how we say that, good medicine. So for me, I'm honored to be here to talk, and I'm going to share with you some of my experiences I had in my life in regards to my leadership as a Cheyenne chief, and how those leadership qualities kind of instilled me to not only represent, but it instilled my pride, and it developed leadership for me. And so I think my elders of the past who had confidence in me, and who also saw me in the future, is how they explained it. They saw my future through their wisdom as chiefs. And they would always tell me, sit down and we're going to tell you this, because someday you're going to need to know this. For me, I would ignore them. Sometimes I wouldn't believe them. I just wanted to be a kid, wanted to be a young person to go run around and do things that a normal kid would do. But I would sit there and listen to them. And today I honor them because of the qualities they gave me, those stories they gave me, all of the historical knowledge that they gave me. And today I hear elders older than me that will come up to me and they'll say, thank you for listening to the elders, those chiefs that counsel you. Now you are chief, you're the chief, you're the elder. And it dawned on me, because I look around when I grew up in this, being a young child, 8 to 10 years old, there was elders all over, hundreds of them. They would hug us and love us and embrace us, encourage us. And today I look around and there's no more. There's no more elders. We're the elders now. And it's sad, but the knowledge that gave me, I do my best to carry it on for my family, our Cheyenne people, as well as upholding the responsibilities as a traditional knowledge keeper. And so for me, I believe in this good medicine way. I believe in what it's provided for me throughout my life as a Cheyenne chief, but as a Cheyenne person. And I was very, I guess I was very honored in my way to honor them today and this evening. And so I'm going to talk about the legacy of peace chiefs and the vision of Creator sets free. Blessed are the peacemakers, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. You know, you think about that. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God. Those are the parallels of how I see our chieftainship in the scriptures of this message that he gave us. And the Cheyennes, they would say, Ewan Nuchgil Tetanva Sitstov. There is being peaceful towards each other. That's what that translation means. And so I was always honored to listen to them when they talked. And so, you know, when we talk about scriptures, you know, Jesus turns kingdom upside down. And what does that mean? The kingdom of heaven is not one based on might, weapons, and power. For us as chiefs, we have no power. We just have leadership. We lead our people, and they didn't give us any power other than to empower ourselves to make decisions for the benefit and best interest of our people. Where the poor and the forgotten are lifted up. I ask myself, is this not what Cheyenne chiefs do? Are they not called to protect and care for the elderly and those who struggle in their communities? The Cheyenne chiefs, peacemakers, are living examples of the kingdom of heaven when they reach out to others to help those in their tribe, to uplift those who are struggling, uplift those who are struggling and might have pain, emotional pain, physical pain, might have financial struggles, not able to provide for their family that day. You know, and we do that as chiefs. We help our people to the best of our ability with what little we have. We pray for them daily. We're humble. We're humble servants to our people. And we must respect our people from the youngest to the oldest. And in turn, they'll respect you. In this way, Cheyennes live the examples Christ taught us. And it touches my heart to look and see these parallels of wisdom, these words of life, these words of Christianity, these words of religion, and most of all, these words from traditional Cheyenne leaders, such as chiefs. So to me, that's just very important. And then when we talked about Matthew earlier in the First Nations version, you know, there's the eight phrases he said in Matthew. He encouraged all of us to listen to these phrases, these scripture phrases of what he was saying. And one of them was, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. A Cheyenne peace chief.
Are you saying Cheyenne peace chief?
That's my grandson. He just came in. He consistently provides help to the poor. Consistently provides help to the poor. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. A Cheyenne peace chief, he prays daily at sunrise to the heaven and earth, asking our Creator for a blessed day. In addition, at sunset, he prays to the Creator again, thanking our Creator for all the blessings received throughout the day. and bringing us another day of life from sunset to sundown. Blessed are those who are hungry and thirsty for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. A Cheyenne peace chief, he eats last. All the people eat first. The children, the elderly, the adults. Moreover, if there's any food left and anything to drink last, if there's any left, he eats last and will proceed with the meal. So he puts his people first before himself, because that's his responsibility and duties. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in the heart, for they will see God. And when you think about these scriptures, these words of wisdom, a Cheyenne peace chief, he must be extraordinary good and have a strong heart, men of high moral character, who are honest in every regard and who do not lie and cheat. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons of God. The Cheyenne chiefs, the Council of 44, are the peacemakers. So all of these parallel and good words of wisdom, and I believe that. So I'm going to tell you of how the Council of 44 originated. And the origin of the Cheyenne Chiefs Council was created well over 400 years. Four centuries of government body that developed leadership and tribal law for the Cheyenne people. Several stories are told, several versions are told of how this organization of the council was created. And one story is, a long time ago, there was a camp, a big camp. There was a man and a woman, husband and wife. They had a daughter, and they had an infant son. And so there was a girl and a baby boy. The story says that this young girl tells of the first time the Cheyennes, Tatistats, organized, and that organization came to be known in later times as Cheyenne Chiefs. And so it was her that saw a vision. We talked about vision this evening. It was her that saw a vision to create an organization for this council. And it was a little girl. Early in the century, the Cheyenne became disorganized and had complete families separated from the clans and began living away from one another. This new style of life was unheard of in the olden days and caused much stress and disharmony among the Cheyenne people. The Cheyenne chiefs, our leaders, were unable to translate their role and responsibilities onto modern terms that will relate to the post-reservation period. It was with difficulty that these men were able to survive into this century and bring with them the old ways. This transition was a tough transition for their way of life. These old ways provide a model for our own behavior in living a good life and raising well-mannered and productive children. The peace chief was usually older in age, which I am. I got silver hair now, and it used to be all black. And I tell them, that's wisdom. And I always tell people, I'm going to go dye my hair black. They say, no, don't do that, because it's not going to be you if you do that. This is wisdom. It's not gray, they said, it's silver. So when I think about that, I think about colors are very important to us in how we see things. Through the colors of these words that reflect us as individuals, that silver is wisdom. That silver is wisdom. And so, when I think about the other thing that was white was this linen, Christ linen. It was pure, purification. That's what that means to our Cheyenne people. Pure purification. So in the Cheyenne peace chief, being of age and known for being, he had to be known for being even tempered, good natured, generous, kind, and courageous. He consistently helped the poor, like I said in one of the scriptures verses. The peace chiefs outranked the warrior chiefs. And what that means is they had leadership qualities above the warriors. They had respect. The chiefs were the leaders, and then the warriors came below them in the hierarchy of how we operate and how we organize ourselves as Cheyenne people. Luchia is the Cheyenne warriors. You know, Luchia Viho, soldier of the modern military. Soldier of the modern military, meaning the veterans of today. That's how we would say that. And so we still have these words of how we express ourselves in our leadership. We have to understand our language. And in the creation story for the Cheyenne people, at one time, all of the animals could speak Cheyenne and understood Cheyenne. That's how we communicated with one another. And that's how we lived in harmony and peace in this place we call our world, our Mother Earth, our Grandmother Earth, our home, our sanctuary. So think about that. Our home is our sanctuary. This earth is our sanctuary. So the responsibilities and duties of a Cheyenne chief was very strict. Very strict. For me, it was kind of hard for me at that young age of accepting this position because it was a commitment for life. And I felt like, I don't know if I can uphold these duties and responsibilities. It's too hard for me. But as I kept going to these meetings with the chiefs and the elders, they kept encouraging me. They kept lifting me up. Just like I said earlier, we lift up our people and our communities because it's the Creator's touch of His hand on us. And through that power, when He touches us, we empower our people to stand up. We lift them up with that power of faith, that power of belief, and that power of blessings, that power of blessings. The behavior of a Cheyenne chief, when they say you're going to be considered for a chief, they give you rules and guidance, how to conduct yourself as a leader, how to conduct yourself as a Cheyenne. And it's hard. And here's several of them. You are expected to be perfect. In today's society, no one is perfect. God, our Creator, Mahayo, He accepts us of who we are. So no one's perfect. And He forgives us for our wrongdoings. He forgives us because He gave His Son, His own Son's life, to give Him the power to forgive us. And He promised us eternity. And so when we think about that promise, we have to follow this good medicine way, this good medicine road, because we're on that journey together. No one's ahead of us. No one's behind us. We're all in this journey together. We're all centered in the middle of that road. And on the left side, one side, we have evil. Over here, we have good. This side, we encounter influence. We encounter what you might call the bad side of spirits. And over here is the good side. They said stay in the middle because that road is long, hard, and narrow. Don't ever get off of it. And stay on it. Empower yourself to keep walking just like He did when he carried the cross on his back. He never gave up. And if you do that, your people will follow you. You are to love your children, referring to all Cheyenne people, to be a living role model of the very best of Cheyenne people, to possess and demonstrate natural leadership abilities, to be courageous and brave, as well as respectful, humble, and even-tempered, and to be considerate of other people at all times. To be considerate of other people at all times. All of that duties and responsibilities and the behavior of how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to lead, is leadership qualities. Conduct of a Cheyenne chief, they were so rigid. Like I said, I didn't think I could live up to them. And I said, no, I don't think I can do that. I just can't do it. And so they again lifted me up and encouraged me. They're so rigid and demanding that some individuals refuse to be a Cheyenne chief in the selection process, knowing that such refusal could result in misfortune to them or their family. But they chose that, and they balanced themselves. Do I take this role as a chief, or do I bring misfortune to my people and my family? And in the end, he would choose that if he didn't accept the role of being the Cheyenne chief. The Cheyenne chiefs are considered and looked and recruited as new members of the council. They, as I mentioned, they look for extraordinary, good and strong-hearted men of high moral character, who are honest in every regard, who do not lie. They must be honest to their people, and they must show respect to their people. It's hard today when you think about that. Dishonesty is on the other side of the road. And that's why we have to stay in the middle. Being honest gives you freedom from your conscience. And so when you think about these things, they're very powerful in their own way. Words are strong. Words are taught to us in a beautiful way through our language. Our language is very descriptive. You know, Ana Maheo, Ana Masihiyov, Maheo, the creator of all things, sweet medicine, our Cheyenne prophet. That's who we pray to. And so we pray to Namshim, our grandfather, Nishkit, our grandmother. So when you're nominated, you have to be wise and mature in judgment. Expected to possess wisdom of high intelligence is also a key component of our leadership. So those are some of the things that the qualities of being a Cheyenne chief is required. You know, you must also be familiar with ceremonial procedures. And for me, as a Cheyenne ceremonial leader, I worship and I sacrifice in the Cheyenne Sundance. That's my way of worship, my prayers to the Creator and all the spirits that we rely upon, the plants, the animals, the trees, and even the air that we breathe. So as a chief, we have to be familiar with our ceremonial procedures in order that we may ensure the appropriateness and conduct of the various procedures, how they go. These lifeways of a Cheyenne chief were often expressed in the fashion of situation. For example, the Cheyenne chiefs were relied upon to maintain harmony and balance within the Cheyenne tribe. When someone became angry or felt slighted by another, it was the duty of the father chief, the principal chief, to arrange for redress or administer justice restorative justice in accordance with Cheyenne laws. And so today we have 4 principal chiefs in the Council of 44. And due to COVID, we've lost 3. I'm the only remaining principal chief. So we have to fill the vacancies in of the 3 vacancies of those principal chiefs. And the chiefs, we meet, we discuss that because it's important. And they suggested that we don't move forward in bringing in new chiefs to the council until those 4 positions are filled. And they said, we want you to have help in this decision making. You can't make these decisions by yourself. It's a lot on you. And so that's how we're carrying on this council today. And the Father Chief did not make decisions alone, as I said. The Cheyenne Chief was always to remain objective in decision making. And he would express peace and harmony. And so whenever there were people or families in disagreement, there might have been in-laws disagreement. There might have been siblings fighting within the family. It was always the chief's responsibility to make peace with that family and to come up with a solution on how they were going to redress their situation, choosing the alternative that was most beneficial to the family, the individual, and to the Cheyenne people. Never making a decision by himself that would benefit him or exclude any Cheyenne person. So we're very humble, and we always make decisions for the best interests of our people and the guidance through the Creator. As I said, the man becomes a father to all Cheyennes, young and old. As a father, he owned the people, not as servants, but as servants in his Cheyenne way of life, as a servant in the Cheyenne way of life, as a chief, a father to each and every member in the Cheyenne tribe, and is addressed as such way, a father, a father of the Cheyenne people. So that's, to me, that's a tremendous responsibility in how we do things. And this is an example of how we would have to address situations that we encounter as chiefs. This is just an example, and I'll give you 2. And you can think about how this would be taken as an individual today. If a man runs away with your wife or murders your children, your son or your child, you as a Cheyenne chief is expected to take up your red pipe, smoke it, and pray for that person or persons who done harm to him or your child or to your family. You're to take up the red pipe and smoke it and ask forgiveness, and you're to pray for that individual that brought harm to you or your family. That's very hard to do today, but we have to do that as part of our duty as a chief. We pray for all people, not just our families. As I mentioned earlier, we have to be even-tempered, good-natured, energetic, wisdom, wise. Have to be wise and mature in making judgment or decisions and how we're gonna do our decision making. We have to have that wisdom, concern for well-being of others. Must be free from selfishness. Must be free from greed, stinginess, and pettiness. Must care for the welfare of everyone in the Cheyenne tribe. We must be courageous, protector of the people. We must have generosity. Generosity, in the true sense of the word, was the ultimate characteristic of a Cheyenne chief. Generosity. So when someone comes to my home, if I don't have anything to offer them, I give them a glass of water. I give them a drink of water. And I fulfilled my role and responsibility to offer them something when they come to my home. Many times, my home, I have visitors come unannounced because that's the way Cheyenne people are. And they'll come and they'll ask you, I need you to pray for my grandchild. I need you to pray for my sister. I need you to pray for my brother. I need you to pray for my mother, my grandmother. They're fallen ill. Pray for them for healing. Pray for them for comfort, that their life will be extended. We want them for a little bit longer here on this earth. So that's what I do. And it's not just my Cheyenne people. Other tribes come to my home. Other tribes will come over here and ask me to cedar them, smoke them all, pray for them, because they can't go home. I had a Navajo girl come over here one night. She was crying. And she said, I live here in this community among you people. And I was instructed to come see you for help. And I want you to pray for me because my family, my grandmother back home is sick. And I can't be there with her right now, but I know you can pray for her. And she will know that someone's praying for her well-being. So I did. I sat her down and we prayed. And then we burned some cedar. And then she thanked me. And then she said, I'm going to tell people what you've done for me, my people, because I'm away from home. And then just here recently, last week, I had a mother and daughter from the Kiowa Nation come see me. And they asked me to cedar them. They had pains and ailments. And they said, we live in Oklahoma City and you're the closest one that we were instructed to come see. So they said, we hear you got good medicine, strong medicine. And so we ask you for your help. And so they don't tell you when they're coming. And for me, I don't do social media because I don't want to get blocked. I don't want to get befriended. And I don't want to see all of what's said out there in this world we call society. I tell people, you know where I live. If you want to come see me, come to my house. You'll find me. And so I don't do social media because I feel like my way of life is private. And I choose that way to remain private. And so when we were taught about being a chief, they said you're going to encounter a lot of bickering among the people. And you're going to be insulted. You're going to be talked about. You're going to get criticized. And they said, but those that criticize you, pray for them. Pray for their family. And they said, in the future, they may think they're harming you, but they're not. And they said, in the future, as they do that to you, criticize you. And that's what goes on in this social media world. They call that freedom of speech. And people will say what they want on there, but they're not going to come knock on my door and tell me to my face. So those are some of the attributes of how society works. And Maheo told us, and Mizio told us, you're no longer going to speak to one another. You're no longer going to speak to one another. That time is now. We don't apply any voice to text messages. We're not talking, we're texting. Parallel that in today's communication world. It's not all about being who you are in your society, your world of technology. It's about who you are as an individual, a person in real time. And so those are words that I think about. We talk about helping the poor, the needy. We have to be humble. And I was always told when you're humble and you put your people first, that in turn, they're going to take care of you. in turn, they'll take care of you. So those, my words tonight is to think about leadership, think about your life, and I'm going to close with how the Chiefs are today as I speak. Today, the Council of 44, the traditional peacemakers of the Cheyenne, we still uphold our roles and responsibilities. And in those roles and responsibilities, they gave us an oath. And as we took this oath, it's so sacred. And we were given this oath in the Cheyenne language. And it's just like a commitment to the Creator, the commitment to this way of worship, this way of religion, this way of how we govern ourselves as Cheyenne people. And we must uphold those responsibilities and roles as leaders. We adapt in many ways. There's going to be many significant changes come to you in the future. In order to continue the roles and responsibilities as a chief, you must maintain your faith, maintain your prayer, maintain your religion, the way you worship in a sacred manner, worship in a sacred manner. And that's what we did this evening in this presentation. We began with a prayer. We began with a song. Currently, the Council of 44, we still have our chief sticks. And they're still accounted for and are cared for in a sacred manner. The chief sticks are ceremonially renewed, cleansed, and blessed every year, just like how they were cleansed and blessed in the past for over 400 years. And also today there are around 25 chiefs that serve in our council. There's many vacancies due to the recent COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of our chiefs died during that pandemic. So we're going to have to fulfill our council back to 44. So I want to say thank you for the opportunity tonight. Thank you for praying for me. And thank you for the blessings I received through worship and through meeting people in this good medicine way. And so I wanted to close with a song, a special song with that was composed by my Aunt Ruth Brooks, the younger sister of my father. She composed this song for Cheyenne Chiefs. And the chief she composed it for, his name was White Thunder. And in the video, you're going to see two Cheyenne chiefs, the late William Fletcher and myself. And you're going to see the sacred manner we still live today and worship through our Sundance. And then you're going to see my aunt's photograph in the beginning, who composed the song. And then you're going to see the closing of the chief's teepee at sunset. And that's going to conclude my talk this evening. And thank you. I hope.
Say Advertising on YouTube helps me reach engaged customers like Jenna, who's been searching.
Thank you, Gordon, very much for that. Should we just go into?
Yeah, I think that song
Yeah,
will
that's
flow
good.
as a.
Yeah, that's
as a-
good.
So, yeah, we can just go right into the question.
All right, Gordon, we're going to go into our Q and R time, and Brian Grover will lead us through that. So we got maybe some responses or some questions from our audience here, and we'll give them to you, and little by little, each one. So take it, Brian.
Okay, yeah, so, you can go ahead and if you're watching on one of the screens, you can just put something in the chats there and we'll try to relay that through. If you're on the Zoom, you can just speak up. And I guess one thing that really struck me, Gordon, as you were sharing and as I was looking at some of the information that you had shared beforehand, was just that even Creator sets free. Jesus, in the time that he walked the earth, he was even needing to remind the leaders of the Jewish community there how to be good leaders. And when his followers were, trying to figure out who was the best or whatever, and he told them straight away, like, don't try to lord it over each other the way the culture around you does it. He says, the one who is great among you should be the servant of all. And I was really struck with thinking about that, how as the church came through Roman culture and European culture, that was a lesson that seems to be completely forgotten in those traditions. But yet, here among the Cheyenne and other indigenous peoples, you had values and traditions that were already in line with what Jesus had taught. So yeah, it just reminds me that there's a lot of wisdom and insight among indigenous traditions because of being so in tune with creation and in harmony with Creator, that those traditions naturally line up with the things that Jesus was trying to teach to a culture that had traditions that did not line up with that. So I don't know if you have any thoughts about that kind of perspective, but that was something that really struck me.
Well, I think it's, like you said, it was the way we worship, and it wasn't just about the different nationalities. In our circle of life, we have the color yellow. It represents the yellow people from the east. Then we have the red, represents the Cheyenne people, the blood that's in our body. And we have the black, the night, coldness, fear, stillness, and death. And that represents the black people. And then the white, that represents the white people. But yet in the center of that circle, we all have one thing in common. That center is our Cheyenne universe. And our universe and the way we all worship. There's only one Creator, and we all pray to the same Creator. So through his teachings, his way of how we communicate with him, those other nationalities that you spoke of, the Jewish, they too worship in that way. And it's unknown how these things came about. But we, through the spiritual connection of our ways, we know how that happened. And therefore we don't have to ask.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, thank you for that insight. And thank you so much for everything you shared tonight. Really powerful and wonderful. So yeah, feel
Wish I could
privileged.
be there, and we should have planned this during Gathering Nations, and I could have came out there in
Oh, yeah.
person. I was at the Denver March powwow 2 weeks ago, and I was an MC for the Mount Blue Sky naming ceremony. So we're renaming Mount Evans to Mount Blue Sky. And as you know, the historical story of the atrocities that Governor Evans what happened in 1864. That was the Sand Creek Massacre. And he was the governor at that time. And so we're changing Mount Evans to Blue Sky Mountain, Mount Blue Sky. And so those are movements that we are moving forward in a good way, in a good medicine way to make these things happen. And so when that happens, we're all going to celebrate and rejoice, just like he did. He celebrated and rejoiced when he came back. And I was always told by my great grandmother, we're one breath away from eternity. Any more questions? Is there any more? I know there's got to be questions.
All right, so Petadaka and then who's got one? Go ahead.
All right. I have actually 2 questions. What would you say is the most difficult part of being a Cheyenne chief? That's the one question. The second one is, have you ever been met with challenges as a Christian and a keeper of the traditional knowledge? Like, have you ever, like, I don't know, for example, walked into a church sharing a little traditional knowledge and maybe have been basically chased out of the church for that, or like, yeah.
Well, the first question, to answer to your first question was, it's difficult. It's a challenge for me right now on the issues we have to address. And they're social issues. We're dealing with suicide right now. And we're dealing with opioids and fentanyl deaths with our youth. We have no resources other than prayer. And it's challenging for me because how do we provide a tangible resource for them? It's through prayer, it's through worship, but we must all empower our communities and spread that word of how we're going to help. And I encouraged all the chiefs to come together and smoke and pray for those causes of these are new encounters we're having, and that's the most pressing challenge for me as a Cheyenne chief. I question it. How are we going to help? In prayer, I feel sometimes is not enough because they want something tangible. And so I pray that our tribe or other tribes or somewhere, they find help for these youth. They find help, whether it's a substance abuse center, a treatment center, but to find help somewhere. And that's what I pray for. That's my most difficult challenge in being a chief. And the other question to your, have I ever been challenged at a church or different denominations of churches? Yes, I have. And one of the preachers who was she was non-Indian, and she was the preacher at our Indian Baptist church in Watauga, Oklahoma. And we're keeping with our traditions. We go over there and cedar and pray for the deceased body. We have to cedar them to send them on their journey. And we have to paint them if they're a ceremonial person, or if they belong to a certain clan or a certain role and they're being Cheyenne. They might have been Native American church members. We paint them ceremonially to send them on in that journey. And so when we went out, the family asked me to go over there to do that for them. And the preacher stopped us at the door. She stopped us at the door and said, "You guys aren't to come into church. If you're going to do that, you do it outside, away from here." And that was the only time that I was ever encountered like that. So I told them, I'll pray for you because you need prayer. This is God's house of worship. This is our sanctuary as well. And I welcome you into my sanctuary. And so we left. And so today, when we do that, we go in to the church before the service starts. We don't cross over to the preacher's sermons when they're preaching over the deceased. We do our ceremonial things prior to the wake service, prior to the funeral service. And many times I do it at the funeral home. Sometimes it's private, sometimes it's with family. And the funeral directors are very, very respectful when we do these things. They honor that. And they'll call me and say, the funeral home will call me and say, "You need to come over, and family wants the body painted. Family wants the body cedared." And so throughout our communities, all of the funeral home directors are very respectful, very courteous into honoring our traditions. And so that's the way we do it. And I always, as you notice, we all sit in the back row at churches. We get there to the funeral service early, and all of the back rows will fill up fast. And I told my mom, "Why do we sit in the back row? Come on, we got to go to the funeral. Come on, we got to go early because we need to get in the back row." And I asked her one time, "Mom, why do we always have to go early to sit in the back row, pews?" And she said, "Because if we have to leave early, we want to be quiet and leave politely." I said, "Oh, okay." And she said, "Besides that, the family sits in the front. And then their relatives, next of kin, and then others." And she said, "That's how we do. That's why we sit in the back." And so sometimes there's separation in that. You'll see when I'm there in the audience attending the funeral or a service for one of our tribal members, the preachers they'll know I'm there, and they'll call upon me to say the opening prayer, or they call upon me to say a word of encouragement to the family who lost a loved one, or they'll ask me to say the closing prayer. And I do that because it's at their request. And all the native preachers around here, they know who I am. And they'll say, "Chief Yellowman's here." And it's good. They'll just acknowledge me sometimes. "Chief Yellowman's here, and we're glad he's here." And so those are respect. That's the respect that they pay. And then we pay respect to them because we're all, what I want to say, we're all providing a service in Christ's name, Jesus' name, in God's name. I hope that answers your question.
Blue Sky Woman, did you have something? You had your hand up earlier. You're still muted right now.
Hi, can you hear me? Watch it. My name is Blue Sky Woman. My English name is Jenny Karakwapit. I'm actually, I've been participating just a quite a few of your gatherings so far, but I've been very intrigued. But this is the first time I'm able to make it in. I'm from up in James Bay in on Northern Ontario, Mushkego Creek. I was just to the elder talking, and I just want to say thank you for sharing. I was just remembering when you said that you responsibility to share and help people or when they come into your home. It just remind me of Abrahamic hospitality, how our native people still carry that heavily. And even our people do the same thing. We still do we feed our elders and we take care of when men go hunting. So we still do that. It's very something that's instilled in us, even like potlucks. So that's one of the things I was thinking about when you were sharing. My late Mushum, my grandfather was a chief too, and I just remember some stuff that he used to. In the old way, when they elected their chiefs, they would just the people would just line up, and if he had a lot of people, then he'll be the chief for that time. And today we follow that government system that's so different. And I was just remembering how I think it's so important to keep using the old ways that we're dealing with the Indian affairs style type of elections now these days. And it creates a lot of division, I find. And I was just thinking about what you said, like when you were sharing about how our people are born into two worlds today, with the old way you're living off the land and your language and who you are as traditional people, but also you grew up in a residential school. Like my parents are both Indian residential school survivors, so they're a Catholic. So, but at the same time, we also grew up around traditional people. But, so we ours together, and we're lucky that we work with the church here that they able to let us drum and do a smudging ceremony along with the pastor when they loved one gets buried, and they sing hand drum songs there. But they come a long way too, like what you're talking about. There's still that division of traditional people have a hard time with the ones in between, like us. Well, even Christianity have a hard time with that. But they're starting to understand when you have those dialogues like what you're doing, and that's what's intriguing me in the circle. You guys are doing. So thank you for sharing, and I'm really happy to be here to everyone as well.
I'm glad you were able to listen in, and you're right. We have to live in two worlds, but there's really one world. And when we think about that, we have to be appreciative to what we have. And to me, and like I said, our old way and our modern ways, like you talked about the tribal politicians, the tribal politics, they come into play, and for us in our tribal constitution, our laws that govern our tribe as a federally recognized tribe, they have to counsel with the chiefs annually. And that's written into the Constitution. And we provide guidance on the annual meetings of what we want throughout the year till the next year's meeting. And so I felt like that was a good move on the council's part, the traditional peacemakers, to give that balance. And so, like I said, living in two worlds, it's just like me. I'm Cheyenne and I'm Arapaho. My father was a Cheyenne full blood. My mother was an Arapaho full blood. from Wind River in Wyoming. And so when I had the Cheyenne full-bloods in high school, they would tell me, "You're not Cheyenne, you're half Arapaho." And then they were Arapaho, they say, "You're not full-blood Arapaho, you're half Cheyenne." So finally one day I said, I got to choose. I got a choice. I can be both. And you don't. You have one way. So they left me alone after that. I said, I have two ways. I can learn the Cheyenne language. I can learn the Arapaho language. I can Sundance Cheyenne way. I can Sundance Arapaho way. But you have one way because you're full blood. And so they left me alone after I said that. And I just kept thinking about it because it bothered me. But today, we lowered our blood quantum to 1/8. And that's because of our grandchildren. Now they can meet that enrollment blood quantum. And so we did that. We changed our constitution and our blood quantum. And so now, as of today, we got about 900 new enrollees. And so that's a good way. That's a good way of being accountable for our grandchildren, that they have a future, that they have a future in education. They have a future in program services. And so, it was part of our council of chiefs that talked about that. We had debates, we had dialogue, and we came to that agreement of a resolution to lower it. And I was always told by the elders, if you got one drop of blood of Cheyenne in you, you're Cheyenne. If you got one drop of Arapaho blood in you, you're Arapaho. So those were words that the chiefs and the elders would tell us. So be proud of who you are. Embrace your ways, embrace your traditions, your customs, your languages, and your religious, and the way you worship. Embrace it. Be proud of who you are.
Ingots.
All right, Helen, go ahead.
I'm so thankful, Sky Woman. What I have to say kind of follows on that. Can you hear me?
A little bit, yes.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're really quiet for some reason.
Keep talking. Sometimes it pops louder after you've said a sentence.
I'm trying the mic volume too, but I'll keep talking.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, now
I
you can hear?
now.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's better. When you were talking about the people coming unannounced to your home and greeting them, I was thinking about the openness that you have to that. How when you do that for one person, they will go and tell other people that you do that and you have another opportunity. But I think a lot of people I've met in life would say that's right. And then other people will come and they'll expect that of you, and you're doubling and tripling your workload.
Mhm.
But you're not looking at it in that sense. You're looking at how many people you can help in
Yeah.
it. And I was thinking about that in some teachers' meetings that I've been in, where there are some teachers who will say, no, if you do that for one student, then they'll tell the others, and then they'll expect you to help them too. And it's like, yeah, but that's what we're supposed to be doing. The major thing is building trusting relationships and connections. And if the reverse is also true. If you reject one student, they will go and tell others, oh, it's no use going to her, that she isn't going to help you. She doesn't care. And you'll have more of a disconnect that will grow. But I think that's in line with what Jesus was teaching, is that we're trying to build those connections. We're trying to reach out to each other. Part of the reason we have the problems, whether it's fentanyl or suicide, is the disconnect between everyone in society. But if we can build that network, that's also a support system.
Yes. Yeah.
And we feel, I mean, of course, we have the power of God as well, but we have each other. God can shine through all of us as well.
Yes.
And I was thinking how it works. It's ancient, but it works, and how word gets out among students. I've just noticed and I know some teachers will swear it's this method or it's this book that I've used. I'm like, no, I think it's the relationship that you build with
Yeah.
the students and the climate in the class. So those
And
were
that-
just
and-
my thoughts.
And that's what I was talking about, the attributes. One of them is trust.
Mhm.
You have to build a relationship in order to gain trust. And then
Yeah.
for me, when I'll give you an example of how I addressed this lady that would come. She came several times, and I helped her in a good way. I helped her, and I need $10 for my grandbaby's milk. I need $10 for my grandbaby's diapers, and I don't have nowhere to turn to. And she was crying, so I give her the $10. And then the next day they said, "Oh, I saw so and so at the casino," and so she used my $10 to go to the casino. So the next time she comes, she says, "Oh, I need milk, and I need diapers for my baby, my grandbaby." I said, "Okay, come in. What size diapers does he have? I got some in the cupboard. And what kind of milk? Similac or what kind?" "Oh, no. She wanted the money, but I fixed her real fast." And she never came back after that. And then the other time was same thing. A man came wanting gas, need $10 or $20 for gas. And I said, "Okay, follow me to the gas station and I'll put $10 in." He never followed me to the gas station.
Well, but that's God too. God gives us what we need, not what we think we need.
Yeah. And that's what goes back to our needs.
Mhm.
You must find out the true need in a good way. You have to address that need when it's very critical, and we honor that way. And so there's always way, the creator gave us way to be creative in how we help people, and that's what I used. And sometimes they call it a gift, and just by me and my experience, I can tell when they come. I can sense their stress, sense their, just by touching their hand, the temperature of that hand, the coldness, the calmness. And I can sense that. And some people say, "How do you do that?" I said, "It's not me. It's the creator. He's helping me reach out to these individuals in their time of need." And so that's how I do it. And it's just based on experience. And so I'm not afraid of it. I'm thankful that I can do things like that in a form of sense. And some people say you got a gift. And so when you utilize you got a gift to teach. And when you use that gift to help that student in the time of need, they're going to excel. And someday that light bulb's going to click, come on, and then they're going to thank you. She's been telling me all of this. She's been telling me this for years, and now I got it. And so when they become professionals in their lives as adults, they're going to remember you as a teacher, not who you are as an individual. And so they're going to say your name, "Oh, teacher so-and-so." And they're going to recount that experience with you because you had trust in them.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Anything on Facebook or YouTube?
Oh, what's the score?
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody posting that?
Joe's got his team.
Oh,
All right,
let's see what
Jeff.
Dave gave us an update.
14.
San Diego State 14, UConn 22. I don't know where it is in the game, so. Must be pretty early still though.
All right.
All
Paul?
right, Joe.
Well, Joe's next here,
Yes.
too.
Oh, Joe does have a hand. You have a hand up, Joe?
I have two hands.
Yeah, it was blending in with your background. I couldn't see it.
All right, well, if you got a question, why don't you take it, and then you can just, when you're finished, you can,
I think
We-
Well, actually,
Doctor has a song, actually.
got a
Yeah, because we
song?
were gonna do the
You got a
Cheyenne,
song?
but we did it in the
Okay.
middle, but Petadaka's got a Cheyenne song that she's
Oh.
gonna share at the end to close us out. But go ahead, Joe. What do you got to say?
Okay. Chief, thank you for, I'm thankful for your story and your words tonight. My heart's happy to hear them. It's a good thing for me. And it's a blessing, for where I'm at in life. And I thank you for, your story and, just who you have been made to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's no questions. Just thank you so much.
Yeah, Ish.
All right, and Petadaka, whenever you're ready, you can do the closing song.
All right. This is a Cheyenne song that was often sung by my relative Moses Starr. It was a song that he sang at wakes and funerals. So
Yeah.
keep in mind I haven't practiced this in a while, so bear with me. It's called Jesus' Way. Yeah, my grandma Wanda Whiteman allowed me to learn the words for this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
She's my neighbor.
Yeah, I know you guys were at Denver March together.
Yeah.
You get
It
to be
makes-
up there for the renaming.
Yeah, she makes good skillet bread.
Yes.
And you think about that bread that they give to communion, the bread they gave when he fed everybody. That's what that reminds me of. You know,
Yes.
and it's powerful. So she's a good bread maker, and I think of that every time I take her bread, I'm getting a blessing.
Yes, we had that at the Wood Jesus Eve Friday.
Yeah.
One of her students made it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really good. Hey,
Yeah.
definitely felt replenished.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Jesus, medio, enoche pava ese, enoche onese omone, vena estano movahe, visheto dai dano, o shevahe. Maheo taso matse ameo savon. Jesus meo he enoke pava ese enoke onese amone vena estano movahe. Visedo dai dano, oi sheva he, maheo daso matse ameo savon. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Thank
good
you.
one. Nice.
And thank you
Good
again,
one.
Gordon, for
Yeah,
coming.
good one. Yeah.
speaking with us, and it's so
for,
good.
Thank you for asking me, and look forward to other opportunities.
Yes, we hope to have you back again.
Yeah.
All right. Joe, you can give us our send-off blessing.
Yeah, just I wanted to thank you again, Gordon, and Casey. Thank you. Good Medicine Way people, thank you for your time. And yeah, I think as we take this in from today, my prayers are that the Spirit would be speaking to us in the ways we need to be spoken to, and that we would digest and be led in ways that bring us to prayer and bring us to peace and bring us to hope for the world. I think that's what I have. If you're a basketball player, I hope your team wins. I'm not, and anyway, it's all you guys again. Amen.
All right. All right, thank you, Joe. Well, that's the end of our meeting here. Thank you, everyone, for coming on. Yeah, Gordon, we hope to see you again, maybe another rotation a few months down the road. We'll ask you again. So we're booked out for a couple months now, so we'll hope you can join us again in the future. And that's it. Thank you.
What do we got going on next week?
Next week is the Remembrance Dinner, which is like Jewish Passover, but done in a Native American way. Heather and Preston and Brian and I and my Navajo tutor and different ones have collaborated to make this, and several of you have already received your scripts in the inbox. This year it's going to be a little bit more interactive. So, and we'll, it's all about, you know, there have been hardships, like, you know, just how the Hebrews were enslaved in Egypt. The Creator brought them out and established them as a nation. So it's looking at some of the hardships natives have gone through, but now looking forward to the blessing way to return to. So it's all done in an interactive dinner. So looking forward to celebrating that with y'all
Hey,
next week.
good.
All right.
Great.
So we'll
All
see
right,
you all next week
everybody.
then.
Have a good night. Hurry up.
Night.
Hurry, turn the game on.
Love you guys. Good night.
Good night, Jamie.
All right.